Hey everybody, so I am in grunge mode because it's Monday, it's my 8th day in a row working, and I just frankly didn't feel like shaving nor combing my hair. And I'm wearing my son, well, this is my shirt, but it's, for my son's school toller. It's, I bought it at a fundraiser. So I'm kind of casual today, which is fine. So I've got some books I have not read from before and some that I have read a couple of times from. But right now, because I have dinner to make and Tyler's karate coming up, I'm going to jump right in and get started with my work in progress, which is called Viktor. Some of you already know my good friend Patricia Annette, pen name is P. Mattern, also known as affectionately as Mama Fang, wrote the Vampire Princess Trilogy, Vampire Empress being book 3, which just came out a while ago. And I'm going to be reading from that today. She was nice enough to ask me to write the prequel, because I was saying that Viktor, who is one of the most despicable villains in literature, deserves a sequel, deserves a prequel explaining how he got to be where he was. And she said, "Okay, fine, you write it." So I just hit about page 100, so I'm still got a ways to go. I was telling Mama Fang that it'll probably be done in a couple of months. I've really kicked it up. I wrote another chapter today, which is saying something concerning the fact I've got other books in progress, 2 kids, and I work full time. Anyways, so let's go and get started. And this is chapter 2. I read chapter 1 the other day. This is chapter 2 of Viktor. Probably not going to read the whole chapter, but just kind of give you a hint of it. And this takes place in the 15th century in Romania. Viktor and Helena had reached the last few yards of the bridge. Viktor, whose eyes held an intense, fevered stare, came to a sudden stop, and he had to catch Helena as she pitched forward. Her pained and blood... Well, hey, I found a typo! Yay! Her pained and bloody leg revolting against a violent and abrupt halt. He did not look at her, his face a mingle of disdain and revulsion at her weakness that he did not wish for her to see. "Hey, Melissa." He stared ahead at the guard tower, which had compelled him to cease running. There was a guard inside, who was awake, but staring out over the expanse ahead. He dared not rush past, and past the... Sorry? Not a typo, just something I'm going to change as I write. Read. He dared not rush past the sentry and alert the guards or their Carpathian shepherds, fearless dogs that had been known to challenge and kill bears, lynxes, and wolves. Castle Corvin also had a cadre of elite archers, and he did not desire to experience an arrow in his back. "Hey, Pam, my BFFF, co-writer of my second book of the Praying Moon series, Domino Effect, which we're still working on." He looked down at Elena with a soft expression. "Stay here." He then affixed her with a stern gaze. "And if you must cry, do so quietly." Helena bit her tongue but said nothing, tears streaming down her face, but whether it was more from pain or anguish at the baleful change that had come over her beloved, she could not say. Viktor walked slowly, his booted feet making soft but barely audible noises on the brick-lined steps that led up into the tower. Helena watched him, her mind a muddle of wonder and concern at what her lover had plotted. These towers, Viktor knew, served as both defenses and prisons. The castle itself had horrors that were unthinkable for man, tortures and executions for those who stepped out of line. He'd learned firsthand of the indescribable agonies meted out, often for the pettiest of crimes. He had been reticent to discuss his murky and tarnished past with Helena, only severely swearing that he would never learn the pain of the breaking wheel, nor be dropped into the bear pit for a grisly last meal. No, that was not supposed to rhyme, but it does. He reached the door and opened it. Opening it, found it unlocked. He scowled, appalled by the complacence. The strongest fortress could be brought down by a crack in a single stone. While this worked to his advantage, he muttered a quiet curse towards the unnamed fool responsible. "Hey, Mama Fang." He inspected the interior, knowing the current lord's fascination with traps, even taking an unhealthy pride in them when his own men were injured or even killed. Viktor had an uncanny, inborn talent for caution, and after a perfunctory search, ruled the room safe. However, the tower has some curious defenses. One in particular was disguised, albeit poorly, to look like a protruding wall. Pulling on a loose brick, it slid open, revealing a number of longbows, arrows, longswords, and other arms. Closing it up, a brief glimmer of moonlight highlighted several embrasures or loopholes through which archers could fire arrows through the tower at enemies. He grinned wickedly as he reached into his belt and withdrew a small phial. He unstopped it and with a thin, wiry brush began touching the mysterious liquid inside to various parts next to the hole. His laugh as he ascended the stairs was quiet, but undeniably sinister. He placed the file back into the pouch on his belt as he reached the top step. A man stood ahead of him, oblivious of his presence. As he leaned over the balustrade, a man stood ahead of him, oblivious of his presence as he leaned over the balustrade. Viktor studied him for a brief moment, almost pitying the wretch. He was too old to be manning such an important post. His posture was sunken, and his leather armor was faded, and like his skin was weather-beaten and in poor repair. His elbows were propped on a longbow which stood erect, its spine only slightly more curved than its owner. He felt a flash of admiration for him nonetheless as he noted that his belt held a large killage in a scabbard. This curved Ottoman saber had to be a relic of a prior battle, meaning at one point he could have been afforded some measure of respect. Now, however, the air around him smelled of age and dust, as if the men were already departed. Viktor stood only a half-dozen paces behind him, completely unobserved. It was unprecedented that this defense keep sitting astride the entrance to the castle was so shamefully protected. The fortunes of war with which his countrymen had fought often bred weariness and the conceit of a lowered vigilance. Viktor had few qualms about killing. Those who dared not protect their life did not deserve it, and its fruits were meant to be taken by those with the ambition and will to take it. He felt a distant sense of regret about what he had to do. The guard's slumped posture, belied the pride of his bearing and his devotion despite his frailty. "Hey, Aim." Thus he spared him the pain of his sword, delivering a more merciful death, covering his mouth tightly even as the dagger plunged into his heart. He did not dally, but gently positioned the lifeless body on the stone floor, placing his sword across his side respectfully. Without further delay, Viktor ran quickly down the steps. Coming to the door, he knelt and left a small decanter of wine against the false wall, laying on its side next to a few chips of stone in the corner. He looked down at it, snorting with a simpering grin, and stepped outside. After a few minutes, he stepped outside to see Helena, crumbled against the wall. Her voice remained silent, but her exquisite face was beset with pain and something else. Fear, perhaps. He walked over to her, and an informal air of calm surrounding him. Without emotion, he extended his hand expectantly, preparing to pull her to her feet. His dark eyes burned in hers as she gawked back at him, tears of awful misery running down her cheeks. "Well, thanks, Mama Fang." She looked up at him, and her expression was one of surrender. "Viktor, I cannot go on. My knee, it is..." She could not speak as sobs rocked her body. "Would you ask for me to carry you?" She stared into his eyes, fixing him with a glimmer of hope at the tenderness of his tone. "If you could, my love, I could still make it. We could still escape with what you took." That's my poor attempt at a Romanian accent. He extended his hand and she took it, but then squeaked out a cry of pain as he roughly pulled her to a standing position. She eyed him with a stare born of hurt and betrayal. "Viktor!" But then fell as a bone-shattering fist struck her face. Viktor pitilessly regarded Helena, her once beautiful face a miasma of blood from where he had struck her. Several broken teeth, bloody and ruined. One second. Need a comma there. Bloody and ruined jutted from her half-open mouth. He reached into his pocket and withdrew a red, gem-shaped piece of glass which glowed in the night sky. He placed it in her hand, feeling its warmth as he closed it around his present. "I regret, Helena, that I hold sentiment of little value. Oh, wait. Well, I'm sorry, again. 1 second. Typo. Or not typo, just an extra word. Nor do I have much time to express it." He smiled mockingly. "Still, I do hold great affection for you, Helena. You have been a magnificent pawn, and your voice does possess the dulcet tones of an angel. I must regrettably impose once more upon your body for a final service." Okay, guys. Calm down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put it there. There's still like a couple of pages left in the chapter, but yeah, that's Viktor for you. Betrays the woman who believed in him and loved him, as he does so many others. And he gets worse, I think. Worse in a good way, I guess. Okay, so the next one is going to be a book I've not read before. And it is called Love Watch City. And it's by Jessica Lucci, who also writes a lot of steampunk stuff. And I have not read this yet, so let me show you the cover. And I think she said this has poetry in it, which is cool. I like poetry. I'm not a poet myself, but I like reading. Full cover. Let's see if I can get this to scroll down. Come on, Amazon. Oh, that breakfast looks kind of nice. I'm hungry. Where's that dinner? I can't tell. Still looks good. Okay. I heard you the first time, Tyler. Let it go. What's the problem? Did he take it away from you?
No, he won't answer the giving.
Okay. Oh, wait. Actually, is this Hold on a second, guys. Tell him to come out here, please. Andrew.
Let's play together now.
Okay. You guys get along, okay, guys? Okay. Sorry, guys. Being a parent, it's not always fun and games, but it should be. Chapter 1, That Shell. Okay. Guys, excuse me for a second. Guys, I told you guys not to interrupt my library to see stuff right now. Let me finish on everything you guys want, okay? I can't stop all of that. Either David says no, that means no.
Do you need anything from the store?
Well, garlic bread for making spaghetti.
Garlic bread.
And sorry, guys. I can't think of anything else. Where's the store she going to?
Where are you going to? Okay, she's going anywhere.
Okay, well, more waffles for the kids, or Tana wants pancakes.
Also waffles and pancakes.
Okay. Well, let's see how you guys can guess how tall I am. By the way, just remember, the Second Amendment has the right to bear arms. See, I'm bearing them.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the worst joke ever, and I just told it. Going to hell for that one. Anyways.
She said to text if we need anything else.
Okay. Okay, anyways. Hey, good guess, Pam, except you already knew. Cheater. But I love you. Okay. Currentless space floats in the abyss. Sorry about this, Jessica, for cutting myself off. Blown in the winds lives a limitless kiss. Twirling destination, never an end. On go, I'm omnipresent, in love with a friend. One or the other. There's another poem. One or the other, being loved and knowing so, blessed concurrently. Oh, okay, I think it was the end of the other one. Or it might have been haiku. I'm lousy at poetry, but I love that. This is called Swim, My Love. Swim, my love, swim in the sea. Swim, my love, swim home to me. In the deep water, your teardrops will fall. Keep faith, do not falter, even when you feel small. When fish in the ocean can swallow the world, when red crustacean can redeem the Lord. Swim, my love, swim in the sea. Swim, my love, swim home to me. Peer through the peephole in my heart's cradle. Rock with my sad soul, hear my song rattle. Swim, my love, swim in the sea. Swim, my love, swim home to me. Ooh, Patriots fans, oh no thanks. Patriots suck. Chapter 2, Hugh. This poem's called Madame. Madame, did you think I would arrive unprepared? Come, pull your skirts up. Not too high. I've been told this is quite the ride. You are worth the truth always. I'm not going anywhere. And that's the, oh, nice. Nice. Anyways, nice, yeah. So anyways, that's the Kindle preview of her book. Again, let me show you the cover. Sorry, Jessica, that got interrupted by me mainly. And my kids. So Jessica Lucci, Love Watch City. Check out her other books because she is a steampunk author too. So if you go here, see some of her other books. There's one, Watch City, Waltham Watch. That's definitely a steampunk. I'm pretty sure it is anyways. Oh, that's not her. But look, she's got Juice of the Lemon Trees. Looks good too. So keep an eye out for her. Check her out. And this is going to go on YouTube. But as you all know, if you're an author and want me to read from your book, just let me know. And also feel free to please If you're an author, especially if I'm reading your book, but even if I'm not, share your links. I'm happy to, if you're just watching and you're an author and you want to share a link to your book, go for it. I don't care. Go do it. Okay, so the next one is another author who I met. She's a pretty successful one, and I actually met her at Mysterious Galaxy. She was here for a book signing, and I used to go to a lot of these things. When Mysterious Galaxy said these authors are coming, if I found a book that looked pretty cool, I'd stop in and say hi. I wouldn't always buy the book. I didn't buy this one because I was broke. But I got to meet her, and I took a picture with her, and we got to know each other a little bit. And I've live read from a book before, and this is the Venators series. It's a pretty popular one. So I'm really excited about this one. This is one that came out last year, and it's called Venators Promises Forged. And I'm going to go ahead and do the look inside. And let me show you the cover. It's a really cool cover, too. One second. Besides, Pam, you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Not much difference between that and the Patriots. Oh, that was a sick burn. I'm just kidding. Go Seahawks, by the way. Anyways. Venators. Okay. And to show you a little bit about praise for Venators, to show you she's got some pretty good reviews here. School Library Journal, Book List, Voya, Midwest Book Review, Seattle Book Review, Seattle, go Hawks. These are all magazines she's gotten, and I don't think any of these are paid reviews either. So she's pretty successful, and she's a good friend of mine, really great writer. I've got to meet her a couple times. And she's been on my show live as an interviewer, which I can't do anymore. Thank you very much, Facebook, for whatever reason you decided to remove that feature. Okay, Chapter 1, Change of Plans. The spelled connection between Zio and her dragon was flawless. Every movement, every glance of his eye came through her amulet. She saw what he saw. From within the confines of her stronghold, Zio had scoured the forest with Megan in search of the two Venators the council had so foolishly let out of their protected halls. The thrill of the hunt thrummed through her, and her fingers itched to feel the bodies of the Venators break beneath them, to warm her skin as hot blood flowed over it, to feel again. But the connection with Megan was only amulet deep, visual, and no more. As the evening progressed, however, things became more problematic than Zio could have anticipated. This hunt, that should have been a massacre, had rapidly become a battle. Though she'd expected Tate to be with the Venators, she'd not foreseen Beltran's involvement. Hey, Karen. It was the shapeshifter who tipped the scales. The way he jumped off that cliff, his wings cocooned in protection, taking Megan's fire. She shuddered with desire. For years now, Zio had wanted Beltran, a desperate want that wasn't bred of lust, but of a need to own him. Beltran was even more skilled than the shifter she already possessed. His cunning rivaled her own. When such cunning mixed with the ability to shift, Beltran was a force to be reckoned with. But Beltran or no, the hunt was drawing to an end. Megan had their prey cornered. The silver chain of the pendant glinted in the firelight that danced in the braziers of the balcony. Zio's anticipation became a palpable thing that flexed about, spreading its wings and flicking its tail in excitement. The corner of Zio's mouth twitched in a barely there smile as she stared into the pendant. She tightened her fingers around the blue stone, watching the final moments of the scene from Megan's eyes. Her own eyes searched back and forth across the bubbling river. They'd been under too long. Beltran could easily avoid Megan underwater, but the Venator could not. Where were they? A form broke the surface, water pouring off it in sheets. Her throat tightened as if it were she who could spew fire, but it wasn't the boy. It was that worthless wench she'd been protecting. Still, death was death, and Zio's heart hammered against her chest with euphoria as Megan attacked. Fire rolled out as if from her own mouth, obscuring her vision momentarily and further raising the anticipation. When the blaze cleared, the pathetic human woman was a burning torch, dripping rivulets of fire. Zio smiled, and her eyes rolled back for a brief moment. She let out a deep sigh of bliss before whispering, "Yes, and now." She pulled the amulet closer, caressing the sides as she descended into a familiar ecstasy. The Venator. Hey, Sandra. The water just below them bubbled. Megan lowered his head, and the young Venator rose. He was lying prone as something or someone lifted him. Everything happened so fast. The Venator's arrow was already knocked on the bow and aimed. The arrow flew. She jerked backwards as Megan did. An unstoppable reaction, but they were too slow. The arrow buried itself in Megan's left eye. Ow! The picture in the amulet went black as half the dragon's vision was stolen and the other eye closed in agony. Hey, guys, knock it off! Don't... Hey! Sorry, guys. Sorry, Devri. Hey. If I hear one more... Hey, let him go. Stop it. Ah, kids. Sorry, guys. Kids were horse playing, and I want to make sure they weren't hurting each other. Sorry about that. The pendant tumbled from her fingers. It caught on the chain and slapped against her rib cage. She stumbled forward, hitching up against the black iron railing. Her fingers curled around the top as she leaned over and screamed into the calm night air that mocked the foolish surety of her victory. Okay, so I do got to move on, because I do got to get Tyler ready for... Sorry. Sorry, I got this cold back in November. Well, the day after Thanksgiving, so near December, and I'm still dealing with my throat now and then. Okay, so that was Venator's Promises Forged by my good friend Devri Walls. Let me show you this cover again. Let's do a slow scroll. Okay, and the next one is by another friend who I also met at Mysterious Galaxy. Her name is Tessa McFionn. And I met her at Mysterious Galaxy a couple times, actually. And I've actually ran into her at Target a couple of times, too. I just seem to run into her. And she's got her new book. And this is, again, called The Discoverer Divine. It's Rise of the Stria, Book 1, or Stria. And let me open it up. Hopefully this one is a one I can... one to let me do a look inside-y, because I don't have a copy of it yet. Let's see. Maybe this one will work. Sorry guys, bear with me for just a moment. Sorry guys, bear with me just a second. I'm just trying to find a Kindle version so I can...
Turns out the fan actually had candy.
Give me
Okay.
that. That's mine.
Guys, chill.
I'm the one that bought it.
Guys, just chill out.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this, guys. Bear with me a second here.
I'll put
Hey, Jesse, I read from your book a little bit earlier. I'm sorry, I kind of got an early start. I'm trying to find Tessa's book. Let me show you the cover real quick, if nothing else. I really want to read this, but it's not giving me a look inside option. I thought it did last time. Let me see, because I think I have one of her books sent to me. Anyway, she's a local San Diego author that I've gotten to know pretty well. Let me see. I think she did send me a copy of one of her books. Let me see if I have it on my computer. Let's see. Bear with me, guys. Oh, it's a bummer. Shoot, I wanted to read it. I don't think this is it either. Let's see. Bear with me, guys, for just a moment. I appreciate your patience. This did not work out the way I was hoping to. And let's see. Just give me a second here. Let's see. Here we go. So this is from Spirit Shattered. It's another book she sent me. So bear with me just a minute while I open it up. So it's not the one I was going to read, but I think it's better. It's better than nothing. And there's any book by Tessa McFionn is a great book. So I'm just telling you, she's got some wonderful, wonderful works. Okay, so here we go, Spirit Shattered. The throbbing ache inside Anton's skull refused to go away. Pulses of piercing light illuminated the insides of his eyelids. He vaguely remembered the fight with Claude Fournier. Rather, he remembered the rogue warrior's ambush. He should have suspected something when a female companion suggested meeting after her workout. What woman wants a man to see her after she'd sweated at the gym? But it had been a while since he'd gotten his rocks off, and desperate times called for meeting a girl after her spin class. Claude's attack was sloppy and sudden, but that didn't make it any less effective. He managed to shield the alley before things got too dicey. The last thing he wanted was an impromptu audience. Even though the Rogues and the Guardians battled on opposite sides, neither team wanted the truth of their existence made public. At least he only had to contend with one opponent. His slick foe had opted to leave his standard entourage of assholes at home. After 300 years, Anton had almost forgotten what originally started the row. Hey, Darlene, aside from the fact that Bastard and all his cronies are bent on destroying the world, he wasn't exactly sure when the battle shifted. It might have been after the top floor of the building landed on his head. Things got fuzzy after that. He must have been dealt a couple more serious blows, judging from the stinging pull of the freshly healed gash across his ribs. He winced as he rolled through his shoulders. The dull stiffness whispered of a forceful meetup with asphalt. He had a dim memory of movement, maybe stairs or something like that. Where the hell am I? The surface under him was solid, but not as cold or damp as the pavement. It had that musty aroma that spoke of disuse and an unintended, leaky faucet. An abandoned building, perhaps. He had passed battered tenements on his way to his rendezvous. Had he managed to stumble and stagger inside on his own? Another scent wafted through the stale air, faint, yet unmistakable. Female. Somewhere in this vacant room was a woman. Wild jasmine and dark spices oozed off her skin, blending with the tang of stale smoke and stagnant water of the vacant room. He sniffed cautiously but caught no trace of fresh blood. She was uninjured, which returned him to the next part of his original question. And how the hell did I get here? He begrudgingly peeled open his eyes, squinting through the haze of exhaustion. Details sharpened, and he dragged in a slow, deep breath. Cracked ceiling tiles created a haphazard checkerboard pattern over his head, and the outlines of cabinets cast square shadows on the edges of his vision. Vision. Something poked him in the ass. Sorry, couldn't help it. And he slid his hands to his lower back. Fuck. His blades. Cleaning them would be a bitch, the blood crusted over by now. Gingerly, he rolled away from his tremendous bruised side and groaned as he levered his body off the floor. I was wondering if you were ever going to wake up. The relieved voice to his left tugged his eyebrows together. Sorry if I kept you from a hot date. Next time I'll try to die when it fits your schedule. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. That is Tessa McFionn, a great author. I love that read. I've read it before. Let's see. I don't think this one came with a cover when she emailed it. Let me see if it did. Bear with me for just a second. Let's see if this is the cover. Oh, wait, here we go. Wait, I think I got it. Oh, here's Discovered a Divine. This is the other one I was reading from. We're going to read from. Again, Tessa McFionn. She's a great author, good friend of mine. Her books combine romance and science fiction. And she's just, I can't find the other one she sent me, but I will read from her stuff tomorrow. I told her not to bother sending me anything because I had the look inside and I had other things, but apparently I couldn't do the look inside thing. So I'll have her send me something and I'll read from her again tomorrow. That's a promise, promise, Tessa, if you're checking this out. Okay, and now to the part of our show that involves Kindle. And this is another one by my friend Emery Leanne. I've not read much of her stuff, but this is a book that she was a free giveaway on Kindle. And Emery's a great author. I've read some of her things. Good friend of mine, and I wanted to check it out. And so I downloaded it and told her I'd be reading it today. And I was going to read it yesterday, but I had to work and just got kind of sidetracked. So I'm going to read from this, and then I'm going to read from Vampire Empress, because I'm eager to see what happens to Viktor, because I know he doesn't die in my book. No, he kind of does, but not permanently. It's what, no. Spoiler alert, he's a vampire. That's not really much of a spoiler alert. You know, we all kind of know what Viktor is. Okay. Wow, look at this cover. This is a creepy cover. What are you doing, Tyler?
Here you go.
I don't want any candy, but thank you. So you ate it? Nice. Careful, Tyler. Don't forget, I got the claw. Ooh,
No, I got the claw.
Ooh, I'm scared of the claw. Ah, ah. In my ear? Really? Ew, ew. Tyler, I put boogers in my ear and you just... I don't really put boogers in my ear. Tyler, stop. Hey, it doesn't work. Who would think the snapping your fingers of your child would not work? Stop. Go away. See? No respect. Tyler, you're not wearing a shirt.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But, yeah. See right here?
He got his flu shot today. No, nobody gives me a wet willy and lives to tell the tale. Not even you. Just kidding. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, this is a scary picture. This is called Forsaken. What?
A paper's like this. Three
Oh.
of them.
There's only one face there.
No, I saw. There was 3.
It's a horror book, buddy. I told you not to look. That's my 8-year-old Tyler. He's 7, but he'll be 8 in less than a month, so I'm starting to refer to him as 8 already. Okay, so let me show you the cover again, because I kind of didn't give you guys a chance to look at it. Love those eyes. Great cover. Scary. You could not pay me enough to live in that freaking house, because that's a house where people go to die in pain. Yeah. Yeah, don't look. If Indiana Jones has taught us anything, it's 2 things. Keep your eyes shut and don't bother going on missions, because every Indiana Jones movie, if he hadn't gone in the first place, the ending would have still been the same. Think about that. And no, I didn't make that up. That's just a well-known tripe about his. I don't know if it's tripe or whatever it is, but trope. Okay, chapter 1. Oh, I see the word pimp. Oh, here's a thank you to P. Mattern, Mama Fangs, Immortal Squad. What a kick-ass group of ladies. They pimp the shit out of me and are just so fucking amazing. I love them all. Now, I'm part of the Immortal Squad, but I'm a guy. Well, usually. No, he's in another room. Come on, Pam. You know better. No, he's in the other room. Seriously. Okay. Chapter 1, Annabette. I've been locked in this room so long I've forgotten what it was like to be anywhere else. Twice a day he brought me my meals lovingly prepared by his wife. Sounds like a dick to me. Oh wow, no filter. When he first captured me off the street, I thought stupidly, of course, he was trying to save me. I willingly got in his car with promises of a warm meal, a hot shower, and maybe a shelter where I could sleep. Well, so far it sounds like he's keeping his promise, just not the way you expected. Just saying. I didn't know those promises came with a price. When his wife suggested the least I could do was entertain him since he was kind enough to save me from what surely would have been my death on the streets, I had to admit it was a small price to pay. After all, I'd done worse for less. When I was led to this room to perform the act, I knew then it was too late for me. They blocked the door and wouldn't let me leave. Then all went black as something slammed into my head. When I woke, I saw Basilbat leaning against the stairs with blood on it. Ah, the reason I had a bone-crushing headache. Yeah, I know, I've had that headache when I saw the second Independence Day movie. As I assessed my surroundings, my situation became painfully clear. Trying to calm my nerves, I knew I needed to keep a level head to get out of this. I looked around as much as I could to survey my surroundings. I saw they had changed my clothing and put a plain cotton gown on me. I was bound to a chair. My arms were strapped to the armrests, my ankles chained to the legs of the chair, while another chain held me tight by the waist. My gown was pulled up around my stomach, and the bottom of the chair was missing, allowing me to urinate or defecate. Nice. Well, good. Glad you could do that. My panic was going into overdrive. I knew I needed to try and focus on getting out of there. I wiggled my hands. Thanks, Patricia. Thanks, Mom Fang. I wiggled my hands, trying to jerk my arms back and forth. God, I'm a horrible person. Let me try that again. I wiggled my hands, trying to jerk my arms back and forth, but they had them too secured to the chair. Trying to move every extremity proved to end in the same result. No movement and no give on the restraints. I howled in frustration. Left alone in that dark, dusty basement, I thought, can this get any worse? I soon found out it could. That was day 1. Okay, and that was a chapter 1. I will read from this more tomorrow because I got to wrap this up and move on to the final book, which is Vampire Empress by Mama Fang and El Gauthier. Let me show you the... Actually, let's do the video. Mama Fang doesn't mind if I do the video, I assume. I do it every time, so I'm pretty sure she don't. Besides, by the time she says yes or no, it's going to be too late. You're going to be seeing it. You know, I'm just kidding. Mama Fang loves it when I show this video. Who wouldn't? This video is awesome. Hey, Cindy. Just a reminder as I'm waiting for this to load. It's loading, never mind.
Every little girl wants to be a princess. Every little girl wants to be a princess. Every little girl wants to be a princess.
Notice how it says best-selling authors El Gauthier and P. Mattern. So you guys heard me read from Viktor, which is the prequel to this series, and that's book 3. This closes it out. Or does it? And you never know with Mama Fang. She might write another book. I'd read it. I can't remember what else I was going to say. But yeah, El Gauthier and Mama Fang write this book. And it's one of the many books they've collaborated on together. And so let's go ahead and pick this up. I'm eager to see what happens next. Where'd it go? Oh. No, I don't need to look at a thesaurus. Stupid computer. Okay, and here's another villain that if you have not read any of Mama Fang's books, first of all, I feel sorry for you because you should. It's great. She is one of my all-time favorite authors, if not my favorite, and if not my favorite, is Seth. Now, normally, I'm going to say first off, Seth is a name for pricks anyways. If your name is Seth, you are probably a prick. No offense. But that said, Seth is a prick in this too. He's not as big a villain as Viktor, because at least Viktor is a little bit more direct. Seth is a coward, backstabber, conniving sneak, and he's a shadow of how evil Viktor is. So it'd be like comparing, I don't know, Greedo to Darth Vader. Star Wars reference is always good. After looking around furtively again, Seth took Ivory's hand, leading her into the opposite direction than she'd expected, and away from the royal suites. Oh, you're going to get raped. Whoops. Wow, going to hell for that one. Hey, Gina, how's it going, sis? Since he had studied the architecture of the mammoth structure, she thought he must know of the hidden passage that descended from the floor they were on. But to her wonder, he rounded a hidden alcove at the very end of a long and seemingly unused corridor, one she hadn't known existed. But that made sense as her movements in and out of the chambers were so closely monitored. Hey, T! Beyond the left side, there was a small door that creaked when he opened it, causing him to freeze for a moment and listen to see if the creak had attracted any undue attention. Yeah, it is a pricky name. When he had satisfied himself that it hadn't, he opened it further, and after he had pulled a small flashlight from his belt, they slipped inside. That's probably not the only small thing he's pulling from his belt. Yep, I said that. The narrow stone staircase was covered with dust, and it spiraled upward like the steps in a lighthouse, one blind corner after another that gave no hint of where they were going. Ivory wasn't fearful because she felt that Seth knew exactly where he was going. At last they emerged into a cavernous space. It was unfurnished except for a few wooden benches set close to the walls at the periphery. In the center of it sat a small state-of-the-art helicopter. As Ivory looked around wonderingly, she realized that there was a source of light coming from the translucent dome just above her head. Empress Justina has neglected to keep up this space, which was originally constructed to be an escape route for the royal family in case of attack, Seth told her. It's too high for the ice monsters to access, and the outside of it is studded with sharp spikes so that it couldn't be climbed. If you've even seen a view of it from the outside, it seems to sparkle. That's because of the sharps and broken glass affixed to the outside of the 2 top floors. I have no idea why she would neglect this strategic place unless she was never shown it. I believe King Alexander neglected to tell her of its existence, and perhaps because he is a revenant and has never gotten all of his past memories back, I believe Lord Oliver no longer remembers that it exists either. Hey, Emery, I read from your book a few minutes ago. Hope you liked it. It's quite impressive, Ivory said, her head swiveling this way and that in order to take it all in. I know something she could take all in. Whoa, there's me again. What kind of helicopter is that? And how could the dome be moved to let it rise? Is there a control lever or something? I'm sure there is, Seth told her, though I must confess that I haven't figured it out yet. Wow, read that backwards. I haven't had time to search for it either, but it has to be here somewhere. Something occurred to Ivory and she looked over at Seth. You know I could run right to my sister, the Empress, and tell her about it, she said slowly. And I probably should. Why are you revealing your well-kept secret to me? Seth closed the space between them and gathered her up against him. Because I knew I could trust you, he said. I knew instinctively you would keep my secrets. You and I have a mysterious bond, Ivory, and although I confess my attraction to you at first was purely physical, I believe we both are aware that it is much, much more than that. Ivory tilted her head up to receive his mouth on hers. She felt her insides flutter as if thousands of butterflies had been released. A warm, melting sensation flowed over her both inside and out, and she felt desire rising as their tongues frolicked for a few moments. Finally, he drew back. I want you, Ivory, more than I have ever wanted another female. I've wanted you from the first time we met, and I haven't stopped thinking of you since that fateful day. I'm willing to wait for you to want me with the same fever that I want you. I will devote myself to your well-being and be there for you anytime you need me. Just tell me you feel the same. Her answer was to kiss him again, with more aggression than he expected from an innocent. Seth was certain that she was virginal, and that only added to his lust and excitement. Virgins were the best. He had always sought them out because the idea of being the first male to penetrate a female in her secret places was perhaps the most primal of conquests to be achieved. Since he had come into his manhood at the age of 13, when he was seduced by an older woman, wow! He had enjoyed many such conquests, craving the sheer delight of rupturing hymen after hymen. Wow, this guy is a sleaze. It wasn't just the tightness of them, by any means. There was a part of him that relished the pain they experienced. Whether it was a slight or agonizing, his virginal lovers always made the most satisfying noises. Everything from mewing like a kitten to wailing and trying to push him off of them, crying because of the pain. Prick. He made it pleasurable for them, though afterwards they were devoted to him. Unfortunately, once he had gotten that gift that could only be ever given once to one man, he grew bored of them and moved on. In his own mind, he was a legendary cherry popper and proud of it. Cherry popper, that'd be a good name for a lollipop. Just throwing that out there. Maybe not. Or maybe it is one. He often wondered why he still wanted Utopia, why she could always make him hot even though she was older. It was just one of those things, he decided, probably having to do with some Oedipal issues, and the fact that she was so bossy and aggressive that every time he fucked her, he felt as though he'd tamed her with his dick. Wow. For a moment, he was enjoying Ivory for reasons he was at a loss to explain, and he considered that a good thing. Ivory felt just right in his arms. She hadn't been in weapons training long enough to acquire the musculature that other royal females had. Even Theta, in her pregnant state, still had the feminine equivalent of guns. Like these things. Sorry, couldn't help it. And very muscular calves and thighs. I don't have those. Empress Justina was an anomaly, as she seemed to verge on being plump, while her arms and thighs were firm, though they were not as toned as other females in the Svalbard kingdom. Maybe it was a family trait, he reasoned. The Oracle, Lady Jonna, was different in the same way, and so was Ivory. Seth appreciated her unexpected softness in places where other women were hard. She was exactly what he desired. Hey, Oscar. Jigville ha Brestine, he murmured, slipping his lips down to the base of where her long, graceful neck met her shoulder and tonguing her there. Please, Ivory. She shook him off, and he thought he had offended her. I speak Norwegian, you know, she told him evenly, as well as 9 other languages. Seth returned her gaze unflinchingly. I know, he returned, and I speak 13 languages myself. But who's counting, right? Awikeluhu, she echoed in Amharic. In temi menagerie. Ichalelu, he replied. I suck at languages, assuring her that he was well versed in it also. Come with me, she said, offering her hand again. Ivory pulled him down beside her as soon as they reached one of the benches. It was uncomfortable, but neither one of them noticed as they fell into an embrace again. Though technically Ivory was virginal, she was not completely innocent. The hot blood that coursed through Lady Jonna's veins was the same blood that coursed through her own. Ivory was well versed in every sexual act that stopped just short of intercourse, and she wanted to do them all with Seth. It's not going to stop there. He made a noise as she slid his hand from behind her back to squeeze her breast. A feral noise that seemed to her ears the thunder of desire itself. Nice. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Scott. Without hesitation, she unbuttoned her blouse so that he could feast his eyes on her breasts. They were not huge, but they were beautiful, tip-tilted, and with big, pouty pink nipples that begged to be sucked. It was her turn to moan as he devoured them with lips and tongue. Ivory had a sense of time passing, and eventually, after revealing enough of her own sexual skill set, Ivory pushed Seth away. Virgin or not, she wanted to show him that she was capable of giving pleasure as he himself was. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. I actually am going to read one more, since Jennifer Schlag came on board. Let's read Arab Dragonmore. And this was kind of an unplanned reading, but I'm going to go ahead and read it because, Jennifer, you popped in. You never know about me, do you? Anybody? Okay, so remember location 538. Yes, Jennifer, you are like, maybe your ears are burning. I'm not going to touch these remarks. Okay, what did I say, 538? Hold on a second. Guys, can you guys please get along for 5 minutes? I might have to go break them up in a second. Thanks, Mama Fang. I'll read more of it tomorrow if I can. Real quick, I'm just going to share this real fast while I take a break and clear my throat. What I'm going to start doing is about once a week, I'm going to do a YouTube video where I'm going to do Facebook Live, but just read from one book and a whole chapter. I'm going to start this on Wednesday on my first day off, and it's going to be with, the first book's going to be Jade Ann Dotson's Ephemeris. But after that, I'm looking for volunteers that want me to read from their book, just their book. Mama Fang's next on the list. I'm going to let her choose which book she wants me to read. And it's going to be where I read a whole chapter of one book, and that's it. I'm not going to read like 3 or 4 other books. It's going to be like a 20-minute video where I read one whole chapter, whether it's, if it's a book that's only like, one chapter is like 3 pages, then I'll probably 2. But anyways, that said, I'm going to go ahead. It's what I do. Absolutely, Jennifer. Jennifer, just remind me, because as my son is so eager to say, I'm almost 49 and I'm getting older and I don't want to forget. So send me a message and remind me. I'm sure I won't forget, but just in case. Okay. Anyways, so maybe you'll be week 3. I might do it more than once a week, but right now I'm just planning on 1 week at a time. Okay, so one more time I'm going to show you Arab Dragonmore because I got away from the cover for a second. Remember, location 537. I'm going to show the cover one more time. Arab Dragonmore, which every time I say I'm going to read this, I spell it wrong because I forget there's an E at the end. Don't ask me why. I like dragons. Okay, let's see. Location 537. Now, I can't read too much of this guy. I do got to get ready for Tyler's karate class. But let's get started. And let's see, oops. All the nobles are in attendance for the party. Knowing that Prince Remy is looking for a bride increases the woman's interest. Some of the commoners have shown up. They do not think their prospects of a... Guys, please stop. Excuse me for a second. What happened?
I just stepped on my toes.
Okay.
And I've been playing games.
Andrew, it's supposed to be stop jumping down the floor. Stop jumping up down the floor. You step to his foot. Give him the floor. You can have it back on the gun. Okay? You're supposed to give me all the speed. Give it to him. Give it to him now. Okay, well that was entertaining. Andy was playing a video game and jumping up and down, and he accidentally stepped on his foot. That's a pretty cool idea for a cover. Yeah, real life is interrupting this one a lot. Okay. They did not think the prospects of a royal proposal was likely, but the chance is offered to them nonetheless. There's a grand feast set out across a long wooden table with pitchers of ale and tall, slender bottles of wine. Hey, DC. Talon walks in with her head low. She thinks this is going to get her past everyone unnoticed. Maybe if she was wearing her farmer attire. Not in this dress. Immediately the men take notice, like seeing her for the first time. As each one... Oh, God. Really, guys? Okay, they stopped. Andrew, are you stopping? This may not last long. Sorry, guys. As each takes a double look, they realize it's Talon. It's the first time they get to see her womanly figure in motion. She never had a graceful walk, but she is trying tonight. She misses her old clothes. The pants were flexible, and the comfort of her sweater never fails. When it is too warm, she switches to a light, long-sleeved shirt. Never does she wear anything to flatter her figure. Women from the noble and comely side take notice of her natural beauty and envy it. They have their faces painted up pretty to impress the prince. Horns sound off. The king comes into the assembly room, followed by his advisor. His guests form a perfect line, bow after bow as he comes down the line. Then the prince comes in with his advisor, following closely. Once more, there are bows as he greets people. Talon gets behind the line of people at the end, waiting to shake the king and prince's hand. The king comes to the spot where she is hiding. He makes no gesture or acknowledgement that he sees her, although she can tell she's been found. Remy is overly gentlemanlike with his greeting. A firm handshake, a pleasant smile, and a few hugs to those he knows personally. Talon gets her first glimpse of the prince. For all the time she's been alive, she does not remember ever seeing him. He likes to spend most of his time in his tower, or he reads in the gardens. Whenever he came to the farmland as a boy to work alongside the farmers, she was out in the woodland. She spent too much time outside. If she spent more time inside reading or up at court, she'd have a better understanding of the sacred beasts, the world, and more importantly, the masters. After all, that was where the marksman spent most of his time, tucked away inside the palace walls, working closely with the king on secret matters. Where there is none left to greet, the crowd disperses and retreats for food and drink. Hey, Joe. She is standing alone. Remy is with his group of friends. Actually, they pretend to be his friends, and he knows it. Both sides don't seem to care. Talon continues staring at the prince. She can't deny that he is a likable person despite what is said about him. A drunk nobleman bangs into her. "Oh, forgive me," he says. They lock eyes. He spills wine on his white tunic. Hold on. Andrew? Let him play. Leave him alone. Then why is he crying? No, I don't want him to do it. Andrew, you do it again, you will not be thrown back until tomorrow. You understand? Your luck is back. Leave him alone. Hey. I don't even know if I'm going to upload this video to YouTube. It might be too interrupted. I'm going to still do it, though. "Oh, forgive me," he says. They lock eyes. He spills... one second here. He spills wine on his white tunic. Talon grabs a towel from one of the servants nearby and hands it to the man. "Pat it a little. If you rub it, it'll never come out." Oh, wow. That is not true. If you rub it, it will... Oh, wait. I don't think that's what he meant. Maybe it is what he meant. "I'm Tristan Goodwin. Talon Dragness. Gavin's daughter, huh? You're pretty. Hey, isn't this party for you and Remy? To find you both a partner?" She blushes. "I'm single. I wouldn't mind considering the pleasure of marriage." He licks his lips at her. What a perv. Or he could be licking the wine off his lips. No, still a perv. Either way, she feels awkward around him. Yeah, no shit. He's a freaking predator. He is very attractive. His sand-colored hair, dark blue eyes, and muscular body make him an ideal candidate for a good breeder of children. He is the son of a gold and gem merchant, enough wealth to buy anything. But will he buy her home far away from here and together they raise a family? Will they accept her when she becomes a master? Tristan gets shoved. He laughs as Remy puts his arm around him. "You're drunk already?" Talon turns away from them. "This is Talon Dragness. She is the one looking for a husband. I have practically proposed to her." Oh, nice! Yes! Yes! Anybody who wants to bag on Tom Brady gets my instant approval. I'm a Seahawks fan, so go figure. "Really?" Remy's eyes widen. He tries to see her face, but she is being difficult. "And what did she say?" "Good evening, my prince. Looking forward to your birthday celebration in a few days." "I'm afraid that Miss Dragness is either very embarrassed or she's not interested in marrying you. Either way, I must steal away for a few minutes." "What? Why?" she asks. She looks into Remy's eyes, horrified. "Oh," Tristan raises his eyebrows. "You're going to ask her to marry you?" "I wouldn't blame you. She's quite luscious." Wow. Remy smacks Tristan's shoulder hard. "Miss Dragness, I must speak with you privately." She regrets ever coming to this stupid party. A bunch of self-assured nobles, absorbed nobles, and greedy commoners. She's thrown into the middle of them. My prince, I beg of you to leave me be. I am not the social type. I am very uncomfortable right now. Tristan laughs as he grabs another goblet of wine. Remy holds out his hand to her. He looks deeply at her. He finds her to be a nice-looking woman. Not luscious. He finds her beautiful. It's imperative that I speak with you alone, right now. My prince. Okay, forgive me. Right now, she can't say no to a prince and mean it. He can have her thrown into the dungeon if she's rude to him. Not that he would. She takes his hand. Remy takes Talon over to the corridor leading to the throne room. I must apologize for my friend's behavior. I imagine you are bold with this party as I am. My father threw on a party for us to find suitable matches. It's insulting and ridiculous. Who falls in love in a few hours? She is not registering any of what he says. What I wouldn't give to be away from this place. That she registers. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up now because I got to upload this and start making the kids dinner and stuff like that. Probably also make sure they're not fighting again. Just a reminder, as always, if you are an author and you're watching this and you want me to read from your book, just send me a message. Since I'm putting this on YouTube, I'm going to say also that that it's author R.D. Trimble on Facebook, or you can send me a message at rustytrimble71@gmail.com. My pleasure, Jesse. I'll do it again soon. Or if you want me to read from one of your other books, just let me know. I will be doing another live read tomorrow. Again, if you are an author and want me to read from your book, just let me know. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, total perv. Mama Fang some of her characters aren't even that pervy. Not that they're not fun to read either. You both write good pervs. What can I say? Anyways, thank you guys all for tuning in. I'm going to go make dinner for my kids now and take time to karate class. Oh, my pleasure. That's what happens when you pop in sometimes. You get your book read. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Tomorrow I'm going to be reading more from Forsaken, because I didn't read much of Emery Land today. More from Vampire Empress. And then, who knows? Probably more Viktor. I'm going to try and read through the whole thing, because I'm proofreading as I go along. You guys have a good night, too, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Bye-bye.